first, let's meet the writer, Dan Fogelman, 49 years old, from New Jersey. Wow, he is our fourth screenwriter that we've broken down from New Jersey. So it's a good state to be born in if you want to be a screenwriter. But I say I'm from Texas. Trey Edward Schultz, I got you, yeah. So it doesn't really matter. But isn't that interesting? There's a lot of literary folks up in that part of the country, a lot of great colleges. So it does make sense. Fogelman says that his parents had a huge impact on his writing and his career, says that his late mother shows up a lot in the tone of his writing, especially in This Is Us. He wrote a movie, actually, about a road trip that he and his mother took, and we'll get to that one in a minute. But he went on to college at Penn, where he studied English literature, and that included a year abroad at Oxford, where he sat around and sipped tea and read the classics. He is married to Caitlin Thompson, who played Madison on This Is Us. They've been together for 10 plus years. They have a young son. Moved to Los Angeles at age 20 and began working as a PA on the Howie Mandel Show. And his first writing gig was doing 60-second blurbs for the TV Guide network. Remember that channel? During his time, he was also working on a comedy screenplay about a bar mitzvah, which was never produced, but it did land him representation. And it was his manager who got him a meeting with John Lasseter at the new development Pixar. And John and his team were so impressed with young Dan that they offered him a 2-week contract to work on a top secret script to see what he could come up with. It turned out to be a screenplay about a racing car. And apparently they liked it because that led to a 2-year project of him writing and developing what eventually would become the film Cars. So think about this. Before the age 30, he went from one spec script to writing a movie that made over $500 million at the box office, and I looked this up, has brought in over $12 billion in merchandise. So Dan Fogelman's off to a good start, we can say. And that led to a 2007 screenplay that he wrote called Fred Claus, which was his first live action. It was a comedy starring Vince Vaughn. 2008, Pixar said, come on back. So he wrote the film Bolt for them. He also voiced one of the characters in that. Then in 2010, Pixar and Disney together, a match made in heaven. And he wrote Tangled for Disney Pixar. 2011, he showed us his first touch of the rom-com with the film Crazy Stupid Love, starring Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Steve Carell, and a bunch of other stars. That one made a lot of money and continues to do very well. Even 14 years later, it's a very streamed movie. 2012, he wrote The Guilt Trip. That's the Barbra Streisand, Seth Rogen film. And that's the screenplay that's based off of a real-life road trip that he took with his mom. So he and his late mother obviously had a very hilarious relationship. 2013, he continued with comedy, doing the film Las Vegas with Morgan Freeman, Michael Douglas, and others. Also during that time is when he started his transition over to television. He got his first opportunity to be a creator and a showrunner, and he created the show The Neighbors. It was on ABC, 44 episodes, so 2 seasons. That's part of the Disney universe. And it was set in New Jersey. It was about a family that moves to a neighborhood, and all of their neighbors are aliens. He dabbled in some other shows. He wanted to direct. He got an opportunity to direct an Al Pacino film. And then in 2018 was the first time that he wrote and directed a feature, and that one was Life Itself, an ensemble family drama with a lot of laughter and tears, the sort of appetizer for what was to come. And the main course, This Is Us. 6 seasons, 106 episodes on NBC, a show that truly redefined network television dramas for this emotionally rich, non-linear storytelling with deep, relatable characters, themes of grief and identity and mental health. It was truly the right show at the right time for all of us. For my family, it was very special because that was when my son Curry moved out to LA. One of his first big breaks was working on that show for a couple of seasons, did various things, PA type stuff, and he ended up being a regular extra on the show where he was in every episode for 2 seasons, where it was like a game of Where's Waldo. We would watch every week. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. Sometimes it'd be like a gigantic tight shot of him, and sometimes it'd just be a blur, but we'd recognize his hair. So it was really fun. In fact, I can announce this now because it just came out yesterday. His film Obsession is premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival this year. Super excited about that as part of their fun Midnight Madness series, where they really, like, everybody's in the theater having a great time. It's the world premiere. Couldn't be more proud, obviously. I'll be there. So if any of you are there, please say hi. Love to meet you. But we're thrilled to death and super proud. So if you were paying attention, you noticed that all of the shows and the films and Fogelman's library, they're all Pixar, ABC. So they're all in this one universe, right? Well, wait a second, though. This Is Us was on NBC. So how is that possible? Well, actually, This Is Us was produced by 20th Century Fox, which Fox is part of the Disney universe, and licensed to NBC to play on their network. This happens a lot in television. NBC was paying 20th Century Fox $2 to $3 million per episode for a one-time airing, and then 20th Century Fox retains the rights to the show for all of streaming and all of that stuff. In fact, that's why it's on Hulu. TV's a wild business. It's the Wild West. There's dollar bills flying all over the place. I think, though, what happened was 20th Century Fox decided we need to put a ring on it. This guy's making us a killing. So in 2019, they signed Dan Fogelman to an overall deal, a 5-year deal for $125 million. That's not bad. So it was time to put him to work. And the first thing they attached him to was to the new show being developed by Steve Martin and John Hoffman, which is Only Murders in the Building. He helped them develop that as an executive producer, very involved with a lot of the themes and the weaving storylines. That's the show on Hulu, that has Selena Gomez, Martin Short, Steve Martin. 7 Emmy wins for that show, 49 Emmy nominations, 16 Golden Globe nominations, very successful. So 20th Century Fox was like, okay, good, what's next? So he starts working on this show, Paradise. He was obviously the creator, the showrunner of this. He's credited as the writer for the pilot, obviously, also another episode. And then his overall deal expired a couple of months ago. So he's currently not under contract, but he is working on season 2 of Paradise, thank goodness. Also creating an NFL drama series for Fox. So that's also in the family. So something tells me it'll all work out. What's the over-under on how many episodes it takes for Dan Fogelman's quarterback to cry? I'm going pilot right off the bat.